I'm a ghetto ass motherfucker. I'm up there in black leather bell bottoms snowboarding, right? And walking around, fur coat, just however you can visualize the shit, just way wrong, walking around. And people are making phone calls. My dad had my mom on the street. So my mom ended up being a pop star, but she used to be a prostitute.
This fucking guy, 4 years old, 5 years old, started hard. What happened to him? Like, what the fuck? What was he running from? Why was he so scared? Why was he putting all these shit in his body at such a young age? Welcome back to the Seano Show. I'm your host, Seano McFarlane. Today, we've got a guest, one of the most iconic music families in history.
Shit.
Straight up, right? I'm going to go.
Come on now. Come on.
But, I mean, I've known this brother for 30 years. He's one of the most soulful, funky. He's a stone cold junkie. He's a grifter. He figured it out. We're going to talk about so many different, we're going to talk about a love of recovery. We're going to talk about community. We're going to talk about Miles Davis, Sly and the Family Stone.
Yes.
Black Panthers.
Yes,
Let's get to it, brother.
Yeah, we are.
Here we are.
I'm sitting there looking at the picture of Miles over there. What a character, right? I mean, like, just amazing. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah,
You
welcome,
know,
buddy.
Uh,
Go ahead.
I don't even know where to start. I put my sunglasses on because whoever watches it, I just want them to get jealous. You know what I mean? These are the Steve McQueen, Elvis. Who else? Steve McQueen, Elvis, Bruce Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the main guys that I saw growing up wearing the
And you can pull it off.
Love. And that drama that kicked off with Kanye when he said whatever he said about George Bush, he was wearing a pair of these too. Yeah.
But why don't we just do this? Why don't we start little history,
Mm-hmm.
where you came from, all that madness.
Okay.
Give folks a little,
All right.
let's give a little taste.
I was born in Oakland, 4.5. My family moves to Sausalito. Okay. So, yeah. And like I always say this, you know, it's just, Tupac lived in Sausalito, but he lived in Marin City. And Marin City was the ghetto of Sausalito. Okay. So there's Sausalito, and there's Marin City. And I'm not bagging on the ghetto. I hung out in Marin City because that's where we went to church. And when I first got to Sausalito, I went to St. Hilary's. And then I started going to school, Bayside, and a couple of other public schools because I got kicked out of St. Hilary's for fighting. It wasn't my fault. Like this kid, it wasn't. It was a kindergarten to 12th grade school. So, you know, and this is during like that TV show Roots. So there were like older kids that were just like Toby, Kunta Kinte, and this guy hit me over the head with one of those pewter lunch trays. That's what the lunch trays were then. They were pewter. They weren't even that, you know, they became like this plastic thing later, but when I was a kid, they were pewter, right? So I kicked the guy when he was drinking out of a water faucet and knocked his teeth out. I didn't mean to do it. I just, you know what I mean? I didn't even kick him from a place of hurting him. He's drinking water and I just kicked him in his butt, but I didn't kick him hard to hurt him. And my brain didn't go, that could knock his teeth out, but it knocked, you know, all everything in the front out. Right. Right. The guy's way bigger than me.
Many things to happen,
way
buddy.
bigger than me. So I get kicked out of the school for doing that, not him hitting me over the head or whatever. Anyway, so yeah. And that was the first time my mom got sued. So the head nun, like, just wore my ass out with the rulers.
Oh, right.
For doing that to that kid. And when my mom got back from tour, you could hear, like, it's like St. Hilary's is at the top of this hill in Tiburon, okay, in Marin. And you could hear her coming up the hill in the Porsche, dude, just shifting it. You could hear it coming, right? And when my mom got up there, you know, in the fucking, like, I guess black people can calm down later in their money. But at this phase of it, for my mom, she showed up in the mink with the glasses and the Porsche.
Yeah.
Almost like, oh yeah, I'm looking, I'm Malik Pointer's mother, and I'm looking for the, whoever the head nun is that disciplined him, right? And so they're like, oh yeah, Miss Pointer, yes. And when she goes, can I see the rulers that you hit him with, just so that I could, just acting all, She got a hold of those rulers. And she grabbed the nun and just beat her all in the face. Okay.
Wow.
And trying to hit her, like the nun was trying to get away, just hitting her in the eyes and shit. So they sued the fucking shit out of my mom for that shit.
Yeah. Good for mom.
To this day, okay, like the last time I was in the Bay Area, well, not the last time, but a couple of decades ago, I'm drunk at a bar in San Francisco talking to some guy, and somebody's like, dude, did I hear your name's Malik? Are you Malik Pointer, the one that your mom came to the school and beat the living shit out of, you know what I mean? Anyways, my mom and my family followed Sly Stone to Sausalito. And then Sly Stone was like, I'm moving up to Novato, getting some horses and some more land. He goes, plus they won't sell me a house. Like he built the record plant.
Oh, right there, right.
The record plant is
record plant's there.
The album Rumors, all
Right.
these iconic records were recorded at Sly's studio, but they wouldn't sell him a house. He's like, at the time I was trying to buy a house, I was the biggest artist on the planet. And they were like,
Hey,
we don't know what to tell you. We don't have any black people living in Sausalito, and you will not be the first one. Wouldn't sell. And the same thing happened with my family. So, yeah. So we moved out of Sausalito. And my mom, because of work reasons, everything was happening in LA. Like they were doing Cher and Carol Burnett and all those shows here.
Great.
So they were like, we need to go down to LA. So my grandmother and my grandfather, we all stayed in Marin, but my mom and my aunts moved down to LA. And then eventually when I was like 16 and a half, we moved to Malibu. And it started all over again.
It started all over again.
Yeah.
Let me just go back
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
go
bit
back.
because I think it's just like that's, you're at that school already, you feel different,
Oh,
right?
me and my sister and my cousin, kindergarten to 12th grade, 3 black people in the whole school. 3. Do you understand?
Right.
2 black residents in all of Sausalito. 2.
It's
Okay.
something.
Like they know, like I was getting at when I got to Malibu and Ben Vereen and Miles and Whoopi wasn't there yet. Ben
Lou
Vereen,
Gossett.
Miles, Flip Wilson,
Right.
Lou Gossett.
Yeah.
And I ended up being roommates with Lou Gossett at the care unit. But they were like, Miles and Lou, they were like, just know. They know exactly, not vaguely, exactly how many black people live in Malibu. Like nowadays, you see a Lambo or this or whatever, and you see a black guy in it, you don't have any idea who it is in the world that we're in now. When I was a kid, you saw a Mercedes, a Lambo, a fucking Jag 12, a Rolls. Now you saw a black guy. If you keep looking, you're like, oh, that's Kareem. Oh, that's Cosby. Oh, that's Flip. Oh, that's Richard Pryor, Sidney. On sight, you know exactly who it is. It's Jim Brown. It's not like, I wonder who the rich black person is. There's no such thing. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm on this new term with myself of like, I grew up as like this special nigga, right? I was like the special nigga. I was the special, which is how retarded is that shit? But everywhere I went, there wasn't a feeling like I belonged there. okay, so that wasn't the feeling. And then other people, especially if there were most places that you go, alcohol's involved. Eventually, someone's going to get drunk and be like, who the fuck is the nigga? Who is he? Right? And then people, that attitude of like, I don't know why he's here and why is he here? And then someone's like, oh, that's Malik Pointer. His mom's one of the Pointers. Oh, I was hating on the nigga. And now I'm not, because that's one of them special niggas. This is a different type of nigga, right? And I'm not fucking kidding you. Right on, it's like, I hate you. Okay. You get a pass because you're not just a nigga. You're like this other kind of nigga. And I'm like, what the fuck is all that? And I'm also from a time where I was raised to, that's the feeling I want to have. I don't even want to go there if other niggas are there.
Yeah, right.
Like, I want to make sure I'm going to be the only nigga there. And then, unless I know who they are that's there. Like, you're there for this reason, you're there for that reason. So then me and my own people get addicted to the same bullshit of like, oh, we're better. There is no such thing as better. You're better because you actually are better, but you can actually be better than other people by how you carry yourself as a human being towards other people. You know what I mean? That's what it really ends up being about. But I didn't know that. So anyways, my friend Alan Kaufman, who was best friends with Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis had a birthday party. Yeah, get your boy Malik to come up. Sun Valley, Idaho, go up there, play his party. And then I'm walking down the street. I'm just ghetto. I'm a ghetto ass motherfucker. I'm up there in black leather bell bottoms snowboarding, right? And walking around, fur coat, just however you could visualize the shit, just way wrong, walking around. And people are making phone calls. Who the fuck is that nigga, right? And Willis is going crazy, just loving it. Like, dude, the phones are blowing up just because Malik's walking down the street in a particular neighborhood.
Did you get off on that?
See, this is the thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't at the same time, but I didn't know. Get it? I wasn't clear on what it was forever, right? They're making the calls and Willis is just cracking up, you know what I mean? But people are being weird, because no black people lived in this neighborhood that he had his rancho, like they know everybody up there. So it's like, the guy's just like walking down the street, like fucking like he's lost or something. What's he doing? You know what I mean? Because we keep account of our shit, yo. You know what I mean?
I want people to know how you landed here. You were born in an addiction. You were born in a trauma, but also extraordinary distinction.
Oh, yeah.
You got you got professors in your family. Obviously, you've got pro athletes in your family.
Yeah.
But walk people through the early times. But and you got to talk about witness protection program.
Yeah. Okay. So
and then we'll work our way in there. Okay.
I'm on it. So before there were the Pointer sisters, my uncle was a professor, taught all over the Bay Area, and befriended Huey Newton. And the Pointers are in the first 50 Panthers. Okay. Everything's great. Then they start disagreeing on a bunch of shit because shit started getting more violent. And Fritz was like, no, it's about the education thing. Kind of the dichotomy or something that's similar is what Malcolm X went through with the Nation of Islam. Okay. So Fritz is like, we should do education. It's not about like grabbing guns and shit and kill Whitey and all of that other shit. Like if you are educated and you know what the fuck you're doing, then you don't have to go that route. And Huey was like, you need to chill, right? Even if you are right, let me say it. Just go with the flow of whatever I say. And Fritz would not stop and wouldn't shut up. Okay. So he wouldn't bow down. So a bunch of Panthers broke into his classroom, stomped his face crushed his jaw, broke his back in 2 places. Simultaneously, while all of that's going on, it's my Aunt June's 15th birthday. She's a virgin. She gets gang raped by 15 Panthers. That's how she lost her virginity.
Wow.
So the baby sister of the Pointer sisters, that's how she lost her virginity. That's what put us in the witness protection scenario where, you know, J. Edgar Hoover is calling Elton Pointer and he's like, do you want to help us with the situation? You know what I mean? So our whole family has to go to Orinda Hills, which is Northern California Hills, and we're in witness protection. Years later, all this witness protection shit is coming up with, like, you know, Gotti and Sammy the Bull. And I'm going, oh shit, I've been in witness protection. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, the guys with the glasses, they all come to the school and they're like, Fawn and Jada and Malik, let's go. Got to jump in the car. Because the Panthers put a hit on the entire Pointer family. And I've never in my life heard anyone say anything negative that's black about the Panthers.
Right.
Like, I got love for the concept of the Panthers, but they fucked our family royally, you know? And so my aunt, Bonnie, went and got June after all of this happened and started doing backgrounds for Fillmore West. There's a Fillmore East in New York. There's one in Frisco. And so that song, Fool Around and Fell in Love, that's them. That's June and Bonnie doing the backgrounds, not the Pointer sisters, just those two. And then they did Chicago, Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is? And then they did I wonder who. Boss Gags. So they were just my first time
Dirty
in
Lowdown.
Yeah.
Oh fuck,
right?
God damn.
No, get this shit, bro.
That's a get down.
I'm fucking like, this song, every time I heard it, it hit me a certain way. And I'm like, why is it hitting me a certain way, even though it's dope as fuck? I'm at the Ivy maybe 10 years ago, right? Talking to my aunt, and she's just going down all the songs she sang backup on. And she's like, yeah, that's me on Lowdown. And I was like, what Lowdown? What do you mean? She's like, Boss Gags. I was like, are you fucking serious right now?
Wow.
She's like, oh, honey, we did everybody's shit. Fucking Guilty, Barbara Streisand.
Wow.
Yeah, Streisand.
Wow.
With Barry Gibb.
Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Wow.
Yeah. So my mom ends up marrying Dennis Edwards.
Huh.
And that's the guy that replaced David Ruffin. Okay. David Ruffin is the original lead singer of The Temptations. And the world was like, oh, dude, the Temps lost David Ruffin. They're done.
It's over.
Done. And then the first single is Papa Was a Rolling Stone. They're like, oh my God, they're not done. So the world loved Dennis, right? Even David had love for Dennis. Like, everybody was like, we can't believe that you were able to hold that up where we didn't like go, there's no comparison. This sucks. You know, so as a kid, my mom was doing that whole scene in the Bay Area as far as like the gay movement in San Francisco at that time, right? The Pointer Sisters were part of this theater group called the Cockettes. Okay, just a bunch of flaming dudes. They were like, oh, we love these. My mom's 6'1", right? And they all wore the highest platforms they can get them.
They all
their
want to
hands
be your
on.
mom.
They were like, we love these big black bitches, right? So they just fucking
great.
adopted them, right?
Wow.
In that clique is Gus Van Sant, John Waters, Kenny Ortega, and whenever Warhol was on the West Coast. So they ended up in this clique up in the Bay Area, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So that crew was able to talk the city of San Francisco into having a band at the San Francisco Opera House. Never had a band ever. Only classical music. That's it. But those gay guys that ran San Francisco were like, we want the Pointer Sisters at the Opera House. So the first band, anything like that ever played the Opera House was the Pointer Sisters, which is just insane.
That's beautiful.
You know the t-shirt that's a tuxedo, but it's a t-shirt? It's created for that show. Didn't exist until that day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the reason is the Opera House is a jacket required only venue.
And somebody came up with that.
So in 73 or whatever it is, right?
Wow.
Early 70s, it's like, oh, these hippie looking people are showing up and they don't have a jacket. You put on one of these t-shirts and now you're wearing a fucking tuxedo. And the back of it is like overalls. It's like denim overalls on the back, but it's a tuxedo in the front. Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So remember that song, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, Sesame Street?
Yeah, of course I do.
That's me, my sister, my cousin, and the Pointer Sisters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
History.
Yeah. So yeah, the Dennis Edwards scenario brings in, at that time you have you got Jim Brown, Ali, Malcolm, Kareem. All of these guys are talking to each other because they're like, jump on this movement and this whole thing, the civil rights. There's like an energy going on, right? And so they want everyone that has a lot of influence and star power and that whole thing. They want everybody to be a part of it. So Dennis was in that, you know, because he's the lead singer of the Temptations. So it just brought a whole, and plus my mom and my aunts went to Africa when Ali fought.
Went there, right? Yeah.
So, and like, I've never had anything but love for you on sight. Like you've been so inclusive, and because I'm a chronic relapse fucking just retard, dude. Like I'm coming up on 7.5. Like I'll be 8 in February. So, but I've just in and out and in and out, and your love has always been consistent. Like I don't care, it's sit the fuck down.
But love, bro.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not that way with everyone, by the way.
Yeah.
So I know the difference.
We're gonna get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. Born into addiction. You started partying early, and then we got, buddy. I know you're such a good storyteller, and then we got to talk about your father.
Yeah.
Legendary guy.
Okay. So
you didn't start, using
Fillmore Slim. Okay. People know the name Fillmore Slim in the pimp game, right? My dad's pimp name was Fat Sam. Okay. And when you see the movie American Gangster.
Oh, with Denzel.
Okay. Right. So when I was a kid, I remember Mickey Barnes. I remember because the streets were buzzing, talking about, oh shit, check out, man, New York and the fucking dope scene. And so he was the guy that we all knew on the cover of Ebony, on the cover of Jet, Newsweek, you name it. He's the biggest drug dealer in the United States that we knew. We see American Gangster and we're like, he wasn't the biggest. He was the one that people were talking about. But it was actually Frank Lucas.
Oh, right.
It was the Denzel character.
Right.
So in the pimp game, everyone's like Fillmore Slim. When in actuality, it was Fat Sam, who was my dad, who was like, he was doing the concert scene up in the Bay Area was controlled by a guy named Bill Graham. So down here, it's whatever it is.
Who's only staged some of the biggest festivals in the world. Bill Graham Productions, ladies and gentlemen.
Bill Graham Presents is like, okay, the guy in Apocalypse Now that brings the Playboy bunnies to the...
Oh, right.
Remember
Yeah,
he
course.
like did the little show with the, the dancers or whatever, they're really centerfolds or whatever. That was Bill Graham. Anyways, so my dad provided like the rock and roll rock show girls backstage. Okay. So he started doing the regular street pimping shit. And then he hooked up into that scene where it's just like, send this many girls backstage and they just do whatever is needed. You know what I mean? It's not a particular, just be in the room.
Got it.
And you're super hot, and the guys just kind of know if you need whatever you need, you're going to end up getting it, and he gets paid.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a different type of pimping, but still, it's still pimping.
And that was your dad.
And that was my dad. Anyway, so yeah. I mean, it's trust me, there's some people out there that don't want me in my family even bringing up the shit I bring up, you know, but it is what it is, you know. That's my mom. That's how my dad had my mom on the street, you know. So my mom ended up being a pop star, but she used to be a prostitute.
Right.
You know, and my dad, you know, in today's world, in the whole hip hop world, they're like, oh, I'm a pimp by blood. And it's like something to say.
Yeah.
You know, I'm literally a pimp by blood. Not that that's a good thing. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's certain traits in it that are an asset because everything, even, you know.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Some of these drug dealers, you're like, God damn, that guy could have been the CEO of whatever, you know? So, but yeah, I started smoking weed and taking Quaaludes at like 4 or 5. They're like, give him a Quaalude, he's too hyper. I started snorting blow like around 11, 12. Freebase. I remember when John Lennon was assassinated, I had been up for a couple of days freebasing with my uncle, who was a big producer at Motown. So, you know, by the time I was 17, I was shooting dope, you know, and the drug scenario in my house, my mom and my aunts were never home, you know, and there was just so much, you know, the whole sex, porn, you know, and freebasing, this is before the crack thing. This is like the ether-based world. But yeah, you know, that's the environment I grew up in. And it was, you know, it was rough. You know, nobody's celebrating fucking birthdays and Christmas or anything like that. The concept of celebrating is that there's more drugs. And when there's really enough drugs, it's not fun.
Right.
At all.
Tell
serious.
People why that is, brother. That's exactly right.
I mean, it was a bummer, bro. My uncle showed up with like fucking 3 kilos. And, you know, I remember bringing freebase to school, you know, because everyone knew I was a raging drug addict, you know. So I was in my science class, you know, they got all kinds of shit burning. And you smell all kind of weird shit, you know. And I was already taking hits in the bathroom at school, and no one knew I was taking hits because they weren't familiar with that smell. You know what I mean? They're looking for weed, cigarettes, or Cocoa Puffs, but not the freebase smell. Nobody was. I literally had taken a hit, and my principal came into the bathroom and knew I was in the stall and was like, open up the door. And I had blown out a hit, and he didn't know the smell. You know what I mean? But there was already weed and cigarette smell in the bathroom. You know what I mean? So he was like, oh, okay. So maybe you're not getting high, you know? And meanwhile, I'm all like bugged out, you know, and I'm not all stoned. So he was like, oh, I thought you were in here smoking weed, you know? Because his brain's not like, maybe you're in here freebasing. This is way before anybody was hip to that shit. But anyway.
Buddy, let me ask you about, you know, people are going to be listening to this right now. They're going to go, this fucking guy, 4 years old, 5 years old, started hard. What happened to him? Like, what the fuck? What was he running from? Why was he so scared? Why was he putting all these shit in his body at such a young age?
When you grow up in that environment, nobody's present really. So whatever I wasn't getting that you would normally get, the hands-on connection, like my dad and my mom didn't talk at all. Never talked to him, never saw him. And my mom was gone and high, you know, high as a fucking kite, you know. So there was no connection on that end. My grandfather and my grandmother were both ministers, and I used to sit at the breakfast table. There was like this little round, like pale blue Derringer thing that you grind Coke up in.
Oh yeah.
Like you get a nice big fucking 8-ball and
And
put
the
it in there.
screws on the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. And then you got it powder. I used to grind that up and fill up the valves for my mom while my grandmother's making breakfast. And she would be like, I don't want that on my table.
Right.
You know, and my mom was like, don't worry about her. Like everything, I bought everything.
Nobody during that time pulled you inside and said, hey, bro, this is not how we roll here. This is what no one.
I went to school with like Remy Martin and Cristal or Dom Perignon and, you know, like an ounce of weed and like an 8-ball of blow and, you know, driving with no license. You know, the cops would pull me over and call my grandmother and be like, we know he's not even 16 yet. And we know he doesn't have a license.
You didn't give a fuck?
I didn't even see it as that. I didn't see it as don't give a fuck. My family,
it was modeled to you.
My family was like, we are in charge, your grandmother and your grandfather, with the whole, you know, through the church thing. That is not how we paid the bills. We pay it singing. So we're in charge and we're on drugs. So we don't look at it as you can't be successful and be on drugs. So you can do the drugs, just don't get caught, you know, and don't tell them that we gave you the drugs, you know? So it was just wild, wild west in my house.
How old were you when the first time you realized, oh, something might be wrong here. I've got a problem.
Well, all I ever wanted to do was, you know, get laid and do drugs. That's it. So freebasing, when you're snorting, you still think you can kind of do whatever. But once you start freebasing, you can't fuck.
Yeah, not going to happen.
I mean, granted, everybody thinks, ooh, yeah, I'm going to get some. And then because I have it, I get to fuck you because I have it. The kind of like the whole Rick James thing, right? Me and Rick, I knew Rick very well. And so the whole image that Rick James has, there's not any part of it that's reality based.
Yeah, right on.
When I say none.
Right.
Rick James completely ignored whoever he brought with him while he was high. He wasn't like, oh, are you kidding? He ain't touching her and he don't want her touching him. Okay. Because if you get high right, and if you have like real money and you're buying keys and shit's clean, you're not getting a fucking hard on. So that's out. So that's all bullshit. You know what I mean? If you're doing some bunk coke, then you can fuck.
You might have a shot.
If you do some real coke, you can't fuck.
Right.
So that's bullshit. So anywho.
First time you knew you had it, like, you know what, something's up here.
I was like, because I wasn't interested in eating food or taking a shower. I couldn't go anywhere. Couldn't do shit.
How old were you then?
I knew by the time I was 15, 16. You know, I was still trying to go places. I had the band thing up north. But let's say I talked this girl that like I'd go to the prom or something and I'd be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to get an ounce. You get the limo, get the girl. Now I got the girl fucking yelling at me in the limo because I won't even look at her. I'm just like,
you ruined this for me.
She's like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? I thought she was like, okay, straight up, right? Like it's a situation at that time for a white girl to be like, I'm gonna let this nigga fuck me on prom. It's a situation, bro. So she's got to deal with the blowback of that. Right? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go with you to prom, which means I'm kind of pseudo agreeing to give you some pussy, right? Now I'm in the limo with this nigga that won't even look at me at all. Please don't touch me.
Bait and switch.
Please don't touch me. Please. She's like, are you serious? Like, you know what I mean? I can't do shit. I'm scared. I'm scared of the girl. She touched me. What are you doing? So that's when I knew this is not happening. Anyway, so I end up in LA and I end up at the care unit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. So that they took us to Log Cabin.
For people that don't know, Log Cabin is a very famous AA meeting place in West Hollywood.
Yeah.
That so many people got it.
Yeah, that's where I met Carrie White.
Yeah. God
And
bless Carrie.
Carrie White came up to me and gave me her card. She was like, I know what you need. And Carrie White's, you know, I don't even know how to explain it.
Try.
You know, she was very blessed and brilliant. One, okay, I'll give you a Carrie White story. Carrie White had a salon. She had a couple salons. But
she's a hairstylist.
One of her salons, she's got Elvis and Jimi Hendrix downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them waiting to get their hair done. And she's rolling around on roller skates in a jumpsuit with a torch. Never does either one of their hair because she's too high. Mm-hmm. Right? They're just waiting. She's like, I'm busy smoking freebase. So, you know. So when I meet her, she gives me she goes, I know what you need. And she says it in that seductive, because she sees me at the back of the meeting standing around looking at, I'm not there to fucking be sober. I'm there to see who's hot.
Right.
You know? I know what you need. Gave me her card. I'm like, oh my God, this older blonde white lady is just hitting on me at the meeting, right? Not. So she has me go meet her at all these different meetings. And she doesn't show up to one of the meetings she has me meet her at. And every time I went to a meeting, Donald Madden, who's like back in the day, like all these different bigwigs in AA. She's like, go to this meeting. And I'd walk in and the guy would be like, your seat is right up front. And I'm like, where's Carrie? She's not coming. Just sit the fuck down and shut up. So I met like everybody who was anybody in AA, as far as men, through Carrie, because she never met me for a month. But we were talking on the phone. I'm going through some stuff. I'm working. And she did it on purpose. Then she invited me to her house with her partner at the time, this lady, Damien. She was like, I'm gay. I knew that you were incapable of going and doing what you should do to save your life, right? Unless I threw some shit on it.
Right.
So I just met you at the way, how you were behaving.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's right.
And it worked.
It worked.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it worked.
And her and Damien, they were rubbing my face and going, you need to fucking do this and stop fucking around. This disease you have is serious. But that moment, I'll never forget that moment. And Log Cabin at that time, you know, there's half
it
the
cracked
room.
your heart a little bit.
Oh my God. I was like,
the seed was planted.
What the fuck is this? You know what I mean? You know?
But it didn't stick.
It didn't stick. I needed to get some shit out of I was corroded inside with all this bullshit.
Right. Let's talk about that. What was the bullshit? What was the corrosion?
Oh, just the whole thing of like no connection with my dad or my mom being on tour and that no connection to that, and the incest in the house and the drugs and all of that stuff. I needed to go through the process, you know, that's outlined in the fucking book, you know, but I didn't know that, you know. And everyone was like, hey, you know, just recently, over the last 10 years, you know, okay, you know, sweep the floor, mop the floor, set up the chairs, greet, make the coffee, cigarette butts. I'm like, okay, I don't get it. Why do you think that is going to help me with this over here? And they're like, here's the thing. We're all sober. And that's what we know how to do. We know how to fix people like you because we were like you. So we know how. You don't know how. You don't know dick, but you know how to try to chase pussy, money, and get high. You don't know fucking nothing about how this works. Okay. And so I know, you know, you have a kid and you have to give them like building blocks and some stuff. You got to keep them. Here's some stuff to occupy that thing, because you'll fucking light the curtains on fire, right? You'll on accident. You'll, you know, go to the stove, turn that.
Something will happen.
You'll do some shit. And so that's what all this little fucking weird shit in AA is like. Let me distract you from your first action, right? And then I'm going to take you down this path. You know, it's like fucking the Wizard of Oz.
Big time. Right.
Weird shit, bro.
Right.
Now you're going to do this and you're going to do that at this pace and don't be in a hurry. And it's I'm like, what does that have to do with what I told you is wrong with me? And they're like, you can't handle that yet. Just try to do what we're telling you. You know what I mean? Just try to, you know, set up some chairs and da-da-da, make your bed. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, so eventually I start doing this shit. One, the whole tape of you're a complete loser piece of shit. When you do that shit, when you make your bed and you do this and you do something for the meeting, then you feel like it's kind of okay for you to be at the meeting, even though you know you're a worthless piece of shit. But you did something, and then people were like, oh, that fucking idiot, he's the one that set up the chairs and shit. And they're like, oh, yeah. And you're like, oh my God, I'm the one that did it, you know? And eventually, you're like, okay, what I did find out is there's that part of it. And then when you're talking to another person who has it as bad or is having a bad moment or has it worse, and that interaction of hope, my tape and Satan, like Satan to me is like standing right over here, just like, I'm just waiting for you to stop doing little, let me be a decent human type actions.
Yeah.
Because nigga, I'm right here. I hope you stop. Right. I'm so waiting for you to stop. Problem is he can't even come anywhere near me while I'm doing it.
Amen. Right on.
Ever. Right. So that's the weird thing that I found out, that if someone's going through anything, you don't even have to be going through anything. If I just show up and try to be of service, can't come in.
It's not going to happen.
At all. Right. It's like some weird dome, right? It's like the devil repellent.
Right.
Can't come in. Can't break the force field ever. Now, as soon as I get into my big plans of how great I am and my ego and this and that, then he wants to like connect to the ego, you know, just morph, you know what I'm saying? It's like, brother. It's so weird, right? It's like, it'll just lay right on top of some shit and you'll look and you'll be like, you won't even know, you know, like these horror movie type shit, right? Or some weird parasite or some shit. Like it'll just morph into some shit. And it doesn't matter what it is. The devil jumps on my ass in every area of my life that has nothing to do with drugs. Right? And then, you know, let me just, it's like a boa constrictor, just like the Alien movie. Like, let me just make you so hopeless that the only relief you could get, you have two options now. You got God and tell on yourself or get high. And that there's no other option.
Say that again, but it's so beautiful. Say it again.
No, there's just help me.
Right.
Okay. You know, and for me, God is in the empathy and compassion of you and guys like you.
Kerry White.
Dude.
Yeah.
When I say hopeless, no point, I'm only here from somebody else being like, I don't want to deal with it, bro. I don't want to go to your funeral.
Right.
So you won't do this for you, can you? Over and over again, Chuck LaValle, Chuck Negron, Bob Timmons, Tony Moorhead, you, Howard Samuels, Kerry White, Linda Alderetti, Gloria Scott, just people going, can you not do this to me just for 1 second? Just do this one action for me, because you can't do it for you. Can you do it for me? Because it's going to be such a bummer for me if you don't do this for me. And then I go do it and I'm like, oh, wow, okay, I've just dodged the bullet of killing myself because I I don't have a reason. I'm such a fucking loser. What's the point, right? And someone's just like, 1 second, just 1 second. Just give me a second of your time, you know? I would go to rehab and, you know, you check into rehab because you're dying, you're going through, I would, you know, I need help. Please help me. Get some sleep, eat. And now the people at the rehab, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, why the fuck would I let you tell me what to do? I checked in. There was a guy named Kyle that ran the care unit. I check in because I'm dying and I don't have a clue what I suffer from. And I have no idea what alcoholism or drug addiction is. And I have no idea of how to save my own life. And the people that run the rehab, right? They're like, well, we're all sober and we know how to deal with alcoholism and drug addiction. Like, we're not here for your feelings about being Black or your career goals. We're only here to be like this. We have a job, and our job is to teach you how to not get high. Start there. Don't get high. Then how to keep it. That's the exchange that we want to give you while you're at rehab. And that's why I check in. And 5 minutes into being there, I'm like, who the fuck are you? You can't help me. You don't know shit. I'm like, I don't like your shoes. I don't like your hair. You're too fat. You're not Black. I don't give a fuck what kind of case I got to build to not listen to you.
Build it.
I'm
like,
on that case immediately. I'm not listening to you.
The defiance of an addict is extraordinary.
What's the point in going to rehab, sober living, any of it? I do all, you know, I do this shit and then I don't want to listen to these people and I'm building cases and I'm finding reasons to not listen to them. And the one thing that qualifies them to be able to tell me anything is that they have all the sober time.
Right.
And it's the only reason I went there was just...
Right.
I'm going to check in there for my career. That's not why I checked in. I couldn't stop getting high is why I checked in. Get it?
Got it.
If I just did what they said, I would have got my life when I was 17, bro.
Right.
And instead, I found the reason to not listen and relapse. And I thought when I relapse, I didn't know that if I relapse, right, I'm going to relapse right here. So I'll get sober right here. I didn't know I relapse right here and then I get sober 3.5 years later.
Right.
I didn't know if that's how it goes. If. So I didn't realize, like, I can take direction when I've already decided, fuck AA. It doesn't even matter if that's the case. Basically, I can take direction from anyone. I don't think I've ever had bad direction ever. I don't care how fucking lame you are. Right. Every single person that said something to me, right? If I did what they said, my life would be better than how my life is. But see, I found a reason, like, you know.
The devil mutes the truth.
Bro.
The devil mutes the truth. It just the mute button.
Dude, I just freaked out on every rehab, every sober living, I just found a way to not listen, you know? And like, I went to jail for like 90 days once, right? Best Malik I've ever met.
Wow.
You know, because I couldn't get to my mask and my costumes and my different fixes to avoid hearing my own voice.
Right.
Get what I'm saying?
100%.
So when I'm in jail and I can't do dick, the judge was like, he goes, if I see you in my courtroom again, don't hire an attorney. I don't give a fuck. Right. This is not a money thing. It's not it's nothing. There's no point. So I get arrested, you know, Alvarado down there by MacArthur Park for the 3rd time. The guy's like, nope, don't matter. You know, don't care.
Let's talk about the moment when God came through and you weighed and you were all in and when you got clean.
Oh, This last time I got clean, Howard Samuels, I was at Sundowners crying because I relapsed again, you know. Just like,
I just can't get
oh,
it.
dude, it was horrible.
Fuck, I don't know what's wrong.
And he was
with me.
like, this girl I was dating, Rosie or whatever, he was like, take him up to the hills. Just take him right now. I know, I'm just crying, whatever. And I get up there.
Hills is a very treatment center up in Hollywood for everybody who doesn't know the Hills.
So this guy's like, you know, gray hair, good looking, blue blood, East Coast, right? I've had so many things happen throughout my life where like heart and soul crushing as a black man, where a guy that looked like Howard was behind it.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, yeah, right. So I go, and I go to talk to him, and he goes, just so you know, I don't need to hear anything about your life. I don't even care. There's not one thing about your life that I care about. I don't care. What I do care about is that you figure out what you've been doing, okay, so that you could stop doing that. So when we get to step 4, because as far as I'm concerned with you being here and it's how long you've been around the program, he's like, we'll do some speed shit as far as 1, 2, and 3, but you're here, right? My concern is your inventory. And in the inventory, my concern is your part, right? Because I want to shut down your part. I want you doing shit you should do. I want you not doing shit you shouldn't do. So let's just focus on those 2 things. That's it. Okay. Not what your mom did, not what the white man did, not what no one did about nothing. Just what you do and don't do.
Why'd you listen to him though?
I was completely defeated, and I was like, this guy's letting me be in his place, which was unbelievably nice and all of that shit. And I had been around Howard my whole sobriety, just about, at the cabin. Like when I first came around, he was there. You know what I mean? He looks like a regular older guy, kind of. Right. When I met Howard, he was as skinny as I am now, with a ponytail, right? At the cabin, crying over some girl that fucked his friend or some shit, right? Right? That's so good. And we're all going to breakfast.
Right.
And I saw the guy over there crying, and I invited him. I was like, come with us, right? And he was like, oh, dude, that's cool. Like, you're a nice guy, you know? So he was like, I remember you invited me to breakfast. That's where it started. Yeah. So I was like, okay, this guy, you know, he came here sober from New York, though. You know, and he was in like in the middle of a case of like trying to, you know, smuggle some heroin from Afghanistan. Yeah. And was supposed to go to prison for a long time. So he ends up in a halfway house in New York with Puerto Ricans and niggas from prison. And he's like some blue blood kid. So he had a different kind of grimy of like, I know, you know, he's like, I know the entitlement.
He saw you, right? He saw you.
Bro, he's like, I get this privileged bullshit.
Right.
That like, he's like, if I didn't find some self-esteem, it was a wrap for me.
Right.
Wrap, because my dad had accomplished all this shit. I had to find some self-worth and some self-esteem, so that when the devil came to get me, I could be like, you got to come back later, bro.
Yeah,
I'm right in the middle of
rehearsing
doing
right now. I got shit going on.
Like not right now. You
catch me
later, maybe, but as long as I'm doing what I'm doing, you got no chance with me. So anyway, I end up in his place, and he goes, I'm going to help you with everything. And he goes, I need you to not fuck anyone here because you're here for free, and I need you to not get high. And he goes, if someone up here gets high and they don't get kicked out, if someone up here fucks another client and they don't get kicked out, it's not your fucking business. Like, I need you to not do any of that shit. I started getting up before anybody else and doing every chore I can get my hands on because I couldn't believe this guy was like, "Hey, what you need?" I was like, I'm fighting with the girl and she turned off the phone." He was like, "Here's the phone." "Oh, I need a fucking, my eyes fucked up and I need a cataract surgery." "Okay, set it up." He was like, he's like, "If you do what I tell you to do,
Right.
every problem that you have is it's our problem. I'm going to do it with you. Okay. I'm going to do it with you and get you on your feet, and then you'll be able to handle it on your own." And it was just freaky, bro. I was so aimed to please, did not want to disappoint this guy.
Right.
Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I had that with my grandmother when I was a kid, you know what I mean? One, football coach. But like this thing happened with me and this guy where I was like, it was more about him than it was me. I was just doing what I thought he would be like, "I'm so proud of you." I had no connection to what I was doing. I just started doing it. And then all of a sudden I was like, this is weird. I don't feel like a total piece of shit loser. I don't want to die, It just like kicked in and I didn't see it coming. And that's this weird magic hocus pocus shit that they talk about. He's like, "I need you to go through the work with me. I don't care if you understand it. I don't care if you feel it. Definitely don't care if you want to do it. That has nothing to do with it. Let's just do it, And I started doing all this shit with them, going through the book, writing down, journaling, and taking other guys from the hills to meetings and all this shit. And it just changed everything for me. Everything. So, all these years under the umbrella of Carrie White, and I never, ever did anything she told me to do and nothing she told me not to do. I just was a shit show. But she's in my fucking DNA.
Yes.
From always being, she sleeping on the couch, root canal, you name it. She did everything with me and for me, and I know that, it's not about enabling and financial shit in this program. I know that it's not. Here's the thing though. When I play the tape that I don't know factually, I don't know this factually. What I've been told is that Bill Wilson let a bunch of drunks take over his fucking house and his marriage. Like, they took over the house. I'm going to put a guy everywhere I can. This one goes in that room. This one goes on the couch.
Right.
I have this much money. I got to help that guy with this. I got to help that guy with that.
That's what we do.
Not, I take you through the book. The rest of your life ain't my fucking problem.
Amen.
See, that is not what I come from.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here if it was just the book and not personal. Because the shit, the boogeyman, right, in my head, which is bullshit, that I'm scared of. Like, I need a guy to hold my hand like a little bitch that I am and walk me through and go, dude, it's not going to kill you. This form of avoiding how this makes you feel, like, I'm so serious about not feeling it, the shame, the less than, and that goes with everything. I'm so terrified that I'm too dumb and I'm too not worth someone's time or not worth it or enough to even try. I'm gonna fail. All of that shit. And so Alcoholics Anonymous, these angels just showed up in my life and was like, come on, man, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do that. This, that, because just me by myself, nope, can't do it. I'd rather get high than expose that I'm too dumb and I can't, or I don't have enough self-esteem or self-worth to even try. right? And so people in the program knew that's what it really was. Like some old bravado, try to dodge, shape shift to not deal with my own life. I needed people to walk me through my life, not just the book. Like, this is what's driving me crazy. Like, talk to me, tell me what's going on. Okay, we got to go do that. And I was like, well, can we do it later? No, we're doing it today, motherfucker. Like, people started walking me through my own life, and it didn't kill me. But not dealing with it was killing me. Every area of life, work, you name it. Dealing with my trauma shit, every area. So thank God for Alcoholics Anonymous and this tribe that we're in. There's no judgment of, I was a hoe, drug dealer, this, that, whatever the fuck it is here. It's just, we're here to help each other walk through
and you
all
do
of that
You're
shit.
on the firing line. You're always there to help. But no matter who they are, what they, doesn't matter. You're there. You're always spreading the love.
I just think that the whole world would be a better place if everybody was in the program. I know that, it's not our job to push AA on anyone, and a person has to self-diagnose themselves. We can't do it for them.
Right.
Granted, we're constantly talking to each other about how we feel and where you're at, like how you doing really, and the rest of the world, they don't get down like that.
No, they don't get down
It's
like
all about what it looks like and not telling the truth. That's the whole world. It's like not dealing with whatever it actually is.
that.
Because it can't get better if you listen. My mom is the only Pointer sister that's alive. And everybody else in the group is dead. And they're all dead from, I have money and I don't talk. Okay? They don't talk because they're like, are you trying to talk to me about reality and how I feel or something? Okay. You're fucking dismissed because I can afford to replace you in the lineup of people that work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean?
Big time, brother.
That's one of the curses of being successful, is that who's going to tell you the truth about anything?
Tell the story, and we'll wrap on this. When my brother Downey called you, I think you were at rehearsal, or I think maybe
I was backstage in Vegas at the Cosmopolitan. Okay. And we're watching Tropical Thunder, right?
You and the band, right?
The whole band, we're in the dressing room, we're watching Tropical Thunder. My phone rings while we're watching it. And I look at my phone and it says Downey on my phone. I'm like, no way. So I FaceTime him, right? And then the whole dressing room, I'm like, hey, you guys, come here. Look at who's on the phone. And he's like looking at, these are just like regular guys, right? They're like, whoa, dude, it's right, whatever. And I know anonymity, whatever. And I don't think he would care because he's the one that called me. So anyway, and he goes, okay, yeah, I said hi to your friends and all that shit. He goes, there's a reason I called you though. And he goes, I need you to walk me through something. I go, what? He goes, I've been driving around looking at this guy in this tent. There's a guy in a tent taking hits, right? I don't want to get in the tent. He's like, I know that like my life is where my life's at, right? Okay. He's like, dude, I am so tired of being Iron Man and all this shit. I want to burn it to the ground, bro. And he's like, I hate to throw this in your face, but I know you're a chronic relapser, so I know that you probably don't have a lot of time and you're pretty close, not too far away from your last hit. Like, walk me through why I shouldn't get in the tent with the guy. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to get out of my life. I don't want to deal with it anymore. And just and bro, one, you won't be able to do shit. Like whatever you don't want to do is the reason you want to take a hit. You can't, however, your favorite food, it won't taste the same. You won't take a shower. You can throw fucking out the window. That ain't going to happen. Like it all goes away, you know? You don't want to do this over, bro. You know? You don't want to do it again. And if you're lucky, all you get to do is come back as a newcomer. You know what I mean?
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. And he was like, thank you, I love you, da-da-da-da-da. We were in fucking Fry Health together, you know?
And what's so magical about that story, buddy, is he knew to ask for help.
Yeah.
He knew the right guy to call.
Oh, he was like, this motherfucker right here, I know.
Because he knew.
Come on.
And at the height of his thing,
Yeah.
the disease doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. At
Right?
all.
Doesn't give a fuck. Doesn't matter.
And it definitely wants to embarrass you in front of the world. That's what it wants to do. Like, especially if you're up.
Right. Because Robert's a junkie like you and me.
Oh,
He'll pawn his Oscar for a bag.
Come on. Oh, totally.
He's right?
Totally.
He's
totally
that
will.
cat.
Oh,
he really is.
my
People
God.
forget that.
Let me tell you this one story of the first Iron Man premiere. I'm at ArcLight for Iron Man premiere. Okay. Take this girl, sitting there. And you know, they have a guy come out and tell you the deal.
Right.
Like this movie, da-da-da. Dude, I'm in the front row. It was Downey.
Of course it was. Yeah.
He came out in the little outfit to describe the movie. He goes, da-da-da-da-da-da. Malik, what are you doing here? While the girl's sitting there.
Yeah.
The girl is like,
Yo,
who
brother.
the fuck are you, bro?
Right.
I mean, dude,
That's the kind of cat he
she
is.
couldn't give me that pussy fast enough, bro. After that shit. I was like, what? Fuck did this? And I'm not knowing that's going to happen, bro.
Right.
It was insane, dude. One of the dopest things that's ever happened to me.
Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
My brother get laid in the bathroom at to sit around my dome. What do you want to say
Bro.
to people that are struggling? What do you want? What's the message? What do we want to wrap it up with?
Here's
that?
the deal. Alcoholism and drug addiction, it's like we're serving a sentence, okay? If you get sentenced with alcoholism and drug addiction and you go through the process and work these steps and get in this community, it turns you into a person that you're going to suffer like there's no tomorrow, or you have to. The only way out is to help other people. There is nothing else. So you're sentenced to, okay, for the rest of my life, I have to help other people. Otherwise, guaranteed, I'm going to drink again, get loaded again, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Okay. So everyone that really gets into that part of the deal of helping other people, it's like, oh, I got alcoholism and drug addiction, or whatever the fuck. My life's over. And so it turns us into this best form of ourselves, okay? Because you have to do what the concept of the word God, you have to do that in order to not die from alcoholism and drug addiction. You have to do it. Have to. And let's say you don't die or relapse. You're miserable as fuck. Or you do it, and it puts us in a position to be the best form of ourselves. And I didn't know that, bro. But this thing puts me in a situation where that's the only way I get to be happy. And I love it. It's dope.
Yeah, I know you do. Straight up, brother. Listen, man, from day one with you, nothing but love. I always saw the greatness in you. I'm so fucking excited to see what's next for you in the chapter of your life, because you're tapped in, brother.
Oh, thank you.
I love you. Thanks for coming
I
down
love
today.
you too. I'm a little jealous of what you're wearing because I
Come
had
on,
no
you know?
idea he was going to bring it like this.
You know I
This
was.
is like-
I thought you were going to come in with one of your
Oh,
outfits.
dude,
I thought,
if
you know.
I do.
Right. Well, it's okay, buddy.
Come on,
You know,
bro.
how the interview, it was great, but fucking Seano's wearing their Mr. Turkey got his shit going on.
I'm like, I should go in the bathroom and make him give me his outfit.
I'm going to
bro,
take care of you.
You're
All
the
right,
best.
Godspeed, buddy. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
The Seano Show is a production of iHeart Podcasts, hosted by me, Seano McFarlane, produced by Pod People and 28th Ave. Our lead producer is Keith Cornelek. Our executive producer is Lindsay Hoffman. Marketing lead is Ashley Weaver. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.